Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Anu Joshi and I'm a real estate broker based in Toronto in the GTA and the founder of Anuvision Group. On today's video, I'm going to be giving you an update on what's happening in the GTA spring market and the fact that bidding wars are definitely back. So without this sounding too clickbaity, yes, it is true. Bidding wars are back. There are properties that are seeing 10, 20, 30, 40 offers in some cases around the GTA. Now, this comes down to stuff that I've talked about on my channel, in my market updates, and in my monthly stats videos all the time. And it really comes down to inventory. We have a limited amount of inventory in the Greater Toronto area, and we are seeing that as a primary factor in what's happening in our market. Of course, for the last year or so, we've been in tightening cycles. Since March of 2022, we've been in a rate tightening cycle with the Bank of Canada. We're hearing from economists that there's an impending recession. The Twitterverse is talking about a housing bubble, like they're usually talking about a housing bubble in Toronto and the GTA. And there's a lot of doom and gloom kind of forecast. And so I'm not an economist. I'm a real estate broker. I can only tell you what I see in the market, what is actually happening, and my experience with it, professional and personal. I'm a consumer at the end of the day as well. I buy the same gas for my car. I buy the same groceries for my family. We eat the same, overpriced food, et cetera, et cetera. So as a consumer, I'm going through all the same things that my audience, you guys, are. And as a professional, I can share with you that there are certain factors that impact the market more than others. As we mentioned, interest rate, definitely one of them. Rising interest rates influenced a lot of buyers, especially, and buying activity decreased. And we've seen that trend kind of for the majority of 2022. So March, April onwards in 2022, throughout the end of the year, we saw that. This year, however, even though Jan and Feb were fairly slow in 2023, especially slow compared to Jan and Feb 2022, which were, unprecedented growth, unprecedented volume of sales, unprecedented increases in average selling price, etc. So compared to that, Jan and Feb 2023 were definitely slower in terms of volume and in sales price, and we actually saw a reduction in month-over-month sales price and year-over-year sales price. So that was all there. As we went into March and now we're in April, we're seeing that inventory is at an all-time low. So if you look at my market stats, I haven't done the April one because that closes at the end of the month, and that gets released by TREB in the first week of May. So I'll have that video for you in the first week of May. We're not quite there yet, but my last video was about the March market stats, and I'll share the link in the description box below. We saw super, super, super low inventory, meaning new listings are not coming to the market. We have restricted inventory on the market, and the things that are on the market are selling fairly quickly, which is what I'm seeing across the GTA. This is not to say that we are back to a 2021 market or a 2017 market, which was crazy volumes, crazy prices, crazy competition, crazy bidding, right? Even though it looks similar to that, I would say that it's not similar, okay? We have a shortage of inventory because people that are in homes right now that are maybe thinking about moving or considering that move cannot move because there's nothing else for them out there. And they're like, okay, well, Anu, if we sell our house, where are we going to move to? Okay, great question. In what you're looking for, in the city that you're looking for, in the criteria that you're looking for, where, another time we might have 20, 30, 40, 50 listings. Today we have less than 10. And I'm going through this with my clients right now in terms of their buying capabilities. It's been impacted because of the interest rate gone up. So the monthly mortgage that they can afford is much, much lower than if we were doing this a year ago. Secondly, the mortgage stress test. Obviously, with the stress test, you have to be tested at a rate that's higher than your contract rate. And with the interest rates already as high as they are, the stress test rate being even higher, and incomes obviously in a year have not gone up, right, in average by the same amount. So people that could probably afford $1 million last summer, this summer we're looking at substantially less. And I don't have the math with me right now, so don't quote me on that. But if you were getting approved for $1 million last year with the same income, same credit, same down payment, you will not get approved for the $1 million this year, which is where the market is at, just because of the stress test rules. So those were the first two, right? Interest rates going up in terms of carrying costs, and then stress test rate going up in terms of just qualifying for a mortgage. And then the last thing that I talked about was inventory, which is super, super, super important. We're stuck in this cycle where sellers aren't selling their properties because they don't know where to go next. And if they don't list their property, then we don't have inventory for the buyers that are waiting for that inventory to come up. So we're in this cycle that it kind of gets hard to break out of. We're seeing record low rates of inventory. New listings were down something like 40%. Again, don't quote me on that, but if you check out my March real estate stats video, it has all of the information in there in terms of inventory and how we're doing on that. So the bidding wars that are happening right now are a result of a multitude of buyers that are fighting over the same limited listings. Now, keep in mind that with bidding wars, it's not necessary that all the offers that came in that day, like for example, the 20 offers, it's not necessary that all 20 even qualify to be offers, right? Because if I have a property, if I'm an agent for a seller and that we know that the property is worth around $1 million, right? Let's just say, we know that it's worth around $1 million based on comparables and based on what the market's doing, and we're expecting reasonably that we're going to get about $1 million. Now, if the seller chooses to list their listing under market value, right? This trend of underlisting that I talk a lot about, that I'm not a fan of, but we see it all the time in GTA real estate. So listing something that you know is worth about $1 million, listing it for $899 or $799 or $999 or whatever. Well, $999 I guess is okay for $1 million listing, but $899, $799, sometimes $699, just to get more eyeballs on that listing, I think is a really weird strategy. It's misleading to buyers that are out there. If a buyer and that buyer's agent are not doing their homework, then they will come into that $799 listed property thinking, hey, we could probably get it for $799 or $790 if we negotiate a little bit, or okay, we're in a multiple offer scenario, so let's bid a little bit above, let's do $810. No, the comparables in the market for that type of house in that location is around $1 million. So any offer, essentially, to me, when I look at it, out of those 20 offers, I don't care that there are 20 offers on the table, because that doesn't matter. What I care about is how many viable offers are there. So for a seller who's expecting reasonably, not the unreasonable sellers, I'm not talking about them, but reasonably expecting to sell at around $1 million, anything under $950 is a BS offer, right? And so what we see, and based on how the privacy rules are and how, how we can and cannot disclose information about offers that we've received on properties, that's the RICO rules. We can't tell you the contents of an offer. We can't tell you the price points of an offer. We can't tell you the terms and conditions, deposit, closing. We can't tell you anything, right? But out of 20 offers, 10 of them are likely to just be BS, right? Somewhere in the 700s, somewhere in the 800s, they're just garbage. And then you have 10 or less offers, I would say less than 50% in my experience, are actually in the realm of even being considered. So keep that in mind anytime you see these headlines from various news outlets. It's very, very clickbaity. And I know mine is named, my video is going to be named, bidding wars are back or something like that. And again, it is a little clickbaity, but I wanted you to understand that there is some market knowledge that goes behind that, and just take these kind of headlines, and any real estate headlines, to be honest, with a grain of salt. You really have to interpret it from an economic lens, from a personal finance lens, from a housing lens, to actually understand what it is that they're talking about. So if you have any questions about real estate or what's happening in the market, and you want me to distill it down just like this to make it make sense, which honestly some news outlets don't do. So if you want real estate headlines to make sense, make sure you subscribe to my channel, because I do post real estate videos, market updates, news updates, housing policy, mortgage financing policy, and all of that jazz on my video every single week. So please subscribe. And if you thought that this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.